Anon C. What do you think of Russia's recent banning of Scientology in the country? I have seen anti-Scientology people who say that the way Russia went about it was morally wrong. I don't know about morally wrong, but systemically wrong, I think it was, because it was a sort of a 1984 approach where they were just going to sort of take an authoritarian, the government coming in and just slamming the door and this is unacceptable and this, this whole thing. That's not how to do it. Because when you create a government suppression of something, or some group actively, squashes or suppresses, with legal and with military and with police and with force, when you try to crush something out of existence, that doesn't work so good. And just because you're doing that, people will fight against it. People will think there's something worthy and valid and important there that should be preserved, right? We, as human beings, I think, tend to react very negatively to authoritarian controls, right? When we're aware of what's going on. So I think that's why Russia's doing it wrong, because they have gone in there with force and sort of thing, and this is awful. And so it's a case where they're doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, or the wrong methods, and I think that's why they're going to not be as successful as they would like to be with that, and it will still remain an underground movement sort of thing. One can compare it to Australia when Scientology was banned there in the 1960s. Scientologists went underground. They literally buried their materials, their Scientology books, in boxes in their backyards, and met in basements and obscure houses and things like that. And they would meet up and do their Scientology. And then finally, the ban was lifted, and Scientology is still practiced and open and flourishing in Australia as much as it is anywhere else. So that's not, historically speaking, that was not a successful way to get rid of Scientology, and I don't think that that's how we're going to ever make any inroads into changing the hearts and minds of people. You don't change them with force and guns and things like that. So that's why I think that that what Russia did was wrong. I was really hoping that the Belgium case was going to come out differently. The Belgium case, of course, was completely dismissed by the judge, who said that the prosecutor had done a completely incompetent job, and so the whole thing got thrown out. But we were all hoping that the Belgium case was going to, carry forward to a legal win. And in that case, you had Scientologists actually on trial for committing crimes. And they were tried in a court of law. And had they been found guilty, that would have shown that in a legal, fair situation, that would have shown that Scientology is a corrupt practice that has criminals working for it. And that would have given much more of a forward motion to getting people behind the idea that Scientology is not something they should have around, and let's get rid of it, right? And that makes a lot more sense to people. So that would be a more correct way of going about it. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't think that Scientology is ever going to see itself banned from a country through legal means or through legal channels. I don't think they are too well funded. They have too many lawyers and private investigators and all the rest at their beck and call, and they'll do anything behind the scenes too. And I'm not going to say that they bribe judges and whatnot, but I'm also not going to say that they don't. I don't put anything past Scientology when it comes to obtaining legal victories, and so I don't think that's the way that this group, this destructive cult of Scientology, is going to be defeated. As I don't think that's how it's going to happen. So.